Hi, welcome to the series on snare drum technique. We'll focus on some of the fundamental principles on playing snare drum. To begin with, let's discuss snare drum stand options. In front of me, we see three stands. Two are for the concert snare drum, and one is for the drum set. As you can plainly see, the difference is height. The drum set is meant for someone who is sitting down to play the drum set, as opposed to concert snare drum is played standing up. Therefore, you must have a stand that is tall enough to meet the player. Now that can be an issue for band directors who are dealing with students who could be in middle school to high school sharing the same stand, as height differences are quite diverse at that age. So you'll need to have a variety of stands, some that can get high enough to reach that student who is in the 6-foot range and low enough for a student who might be closer to 5 feet. They would not want to share the same drum on the same stand at the same height. We'll get into the particular reasons for that later on in the series. There are two different types of claws. We see this as your traditional claw or basket on the snare drum, and this one has a rotation that is traditional, where it goes forwards and backwards. Another type of stand is a multi-directional rotation. As you'll see, this one can angle in any direction you could possibly want, which makes it a little more functional and diverse for your percussion needs. Next, let's talk about stand placement. I place the tripod so that one leg is towards the player. This makes it easier for the percussionist to move in and back on the drum. Next, let's place the drum on the stand. You'll notice I'm putting the drum so the snares are vertical towards the player. Having the drum where the snares are vertical to the player allows a couple of positive things. First of all, it allows us to create a more even sound as we play on the drum. So I'll demonstrate. An uneven sound would be where the snares are not placed right, and one might be over the snare, one might be away from the snare. So no matter how much you work on having the right grip, the right stroke, if you're not playing in a similar part of the drum, the sound will not be even and you will not have a good equal tone. The height of the snare drum is critical in creating a very good quality tone on the instruments. Now, how do we achieve what is going to be the correct height for yourself or your student? There are many different methods out there. The method I like to use is judging it by your arms. So our goal is to have the arms on the drum where we're below a 90-degree angle. 90 degree, it's flat, and that requires us to use a little more of this motion and eliminates the full stroke that we're going to talk about and we're going to work for in a good tone quality stroke on the drum. Too low means you're playing like this, and again, you've eliminated the ability to use your elbows and your wrists, and you're just focusing in on your whole arm motion. So what we're looking for is something that is below 90 degrees. It should feel natural for the player to come up to the drum and play. Let's discuss the stance of the drum. First of all, the player should be about a fist's length away from the drum. I also like to have one foot in front of the other, about shoulder width apart, and my knees slightly bent. This allows the percussionist to be able to be relaxed in a position where they can play for extended period of times and have a relaxed posture, so that again will eliminate the tension that can happen if you are locked up like this when you're playing. There are two schools of thought that I use when it comes to tilting your snare drum. The first is having a flat drum with no tilt. The advantage of that is you get the most amount of rebound. Another advantage of having the drum flat is that it corresponds well with other percussion instruments such as the keyboards. The other method that I use and recommend is having the drum tilted forward. The advantage of this is it allows for the bead of the stick, the most of the bead of the stick, to have contact with the head. That allows for the best tone quality throughout the dynamic range of the drum. The one thing we never want to do is tilt the drum towards the player. This is the worst of both worlds. The rebound is poor, as well as you're using the smallest amount of the bead or contact on the drum, creating the thinnest and weakest sound.